walk the fields together, we laugh the night away, we share a common future, we made lasting friends today. In this land of golden promise, we share the bounty of its soul, renewing inspiration, working toward a common goal. We'll be friends forever, you can always count on me. As our hands reach out together, you know we'll always be forever friends, friends forever, South Dakota friends. You know we'll always be forever friends.
First time I met Bernie was at a JC meeting. A mutual friend of ours, Jim Bjorklund, asked me to go to a JC meeting, and one of the first people I met was Bernie DeWald. And Bernie was his usual self, shaking hands and having a good time. And we have been the best of friends ever since, and that was 48 years ago.
I've known Bernie DeWald for years and years, but really got to know Bernie in 1994 when I joined Sales and Marketing Execs.
And I met Bernie in 1974, and we became friends right away. Bernie was very instrumental in getting me involved in the community.
Well, Bernie came into the Chamber of Commerce office where I was working in 1966.
Upwards of 40-some years. Met him with the JCs.
Sue and I moved to Sioux Falls in 1979, and I met Bernie DeWald almost that first couple months that we were in town.
I have known Bernie for well over 30 years. The first real thing that I remember about Bernie is right after I started my job at the CVB, in comes this guy with perfect hair, the perfect suit, you know, to the T. He says, "Hi, I'm Bernie DeWald." And he welcomed me, and it was the usual Bernie, you know, with open arms, welcoming me to the office. And we've been buddies ever since.
Mentoring with Bernie and his coaching and the introductions that he made for me, it really gave me credibility with other business leaders in our community.
He introduced me to this community, to chamber members, to community leaders. He would pick me up in the morning and we would take off and we would hit offices, businesses, meetings, drop me off at the end of the day, sometimes in the evening. And it was the best thing that could have ever happened for me.
He knows everybody, everywhere. If there's anybody who is the epitome of sales and marketing, it's Bernie DeWald.
So he is Mr. Sioux Falls when it comes to the business community.
Well, in my opinion, Bernie DeWald is the spirit of Sioux Falls.
With Bernie DeWald, what you see is what you get.
And so he'd already set the bar extremely high for those of us who wanted to get into the leadership roles into SME.
And he just fits in beautifully with everybody, talks to everybody, hugs everybody.
He always deflects away from any personal accolades. He always wants to be in the background. He doesn't want to sit at the head table.
Bernie is very regimented in his schedule.
Bernie doesn't toot his own horn very well.
Bernie always looks, you know, perfect.
He is faithful to his workout routine.
There's no put on air about Bernie.
I got to think that the ambassadors go back almost 50 years, and he was there at the beginning, and he's still there.
He is a gentleman.
So passionate and so humble and so genuine.
He just is who he is, and everyone respects that.
He works his tail off.
He's always a social organizer.
He is always on time. He's always early.
We all know Bernie is one of the most best dressed men in town.
I would describe Bernie as an impeccable dresser.
He always has the newest suits. They're always pressed. He always has the nicest ties.
Chamber annual meeting, he organizes the table. At SME, he organizes the table.
And he's on the go all the time.
Does everything with 100%.
His generosity overflows.
He loves the people, he loves the land, he loves the businesses, he loves the progress.
He's a social butterfly.
I had the great opportunity to room with Bernie on a business trip to Pierre at the legislature. And one of the things that I learned about was cologne. I mean, there was a lot of cologne.
He takes a lot of pride in his cologne.
We are just amazed at how much cologne Bernie has.
The one thing that's probably wrong with Bernie is that he just can never keep his hair in place. You know, I've seen him walk across the street like this, you know, with his head into the wind to make sure it doesn't blow out of place. But, you know, there's one thing you'll never find is a hair out of place. So,
Chamber used to have a fishing trip for the ambassadors. And we would go up to Leech Lake in Minnesota. And Bernie always roomed with Art DeWitt. Now, he only had the room to store his stuff because he never slept in the room. He starred in the room, but both he and Art snored. So Bernie would always end up on the couch. And Bernie wore pressed pajamas, and he always was very careful when he laid down. He would sit, he would cross his arms like this, and then he would lay his head back because he didn't want to wrinkle the pajamas or mess up his hair.
Bernie in the fishing boat, you know, and every time he catches a fish, this is a good one, this is a good one. And of course you get the net and it's just another 2-pound walleye, but he's got himself convinced that every one of them's the biggest one he ever caught.
He thinks he's a pretty good fisherman, and I've been on the boat with him. But, you know, he's not a very good team player. He falls asleep. He doesn't net the fish very well. But in the end of the day, he does provide fish to all of us because he always gets his limit.
Bernie does have the advantage of being a classmate of Ulysses S. Grant. And there are very few of us who knew him personally, but it's great to hear those stories of the things that happened back in those days. And when I got here, he sort of was like, many people were familiar with Captain 11. We moved away in Washington, D.C. for a while, moved back to Sioux Falls in 1979. Captain 11 was still here, and lo and behold, so was Bernie DeWald. And then we moved out to Custer here about 6 or 7 years ago, come back, and lo and behold, there's still Bernie DeWald. So he has the advantage of being here for millenniums, and we hope to see him millenniums in the future as well.
Bernie is successful by the example he sets and getting the job done.
Bernie just engages people.
People gravitate to Bernie,
He has the knack of knowing names. He remembers people's names.
and he's the greatest connector of people that I've ever met.
He also has an eye for a pretty gal, and that's how he ended up with Rose.
They always say behind every good man there's a good woman, and he probably, I think Rose has had a lot to do with that.
He is a very good dad.
Bernie has more friends than anybody I know. You can go anywhere with him. I don't care what time of day, where you're going, if you're in blue jeans or a tux. Bernie knows everybody, and everybody loves Bernie.
I don't know of anybody that's done more to promote this city than Bernie.
Bernie DeWald was the highest membership recruiter in all of Sales and Marketing Execs International for many, many years.
People he knows, so many people just walk up to him. Everybody loves him. I know I do.
But Bernie is just one of these very special people who you want to be around. Who's not a friend of Bernie's?
Bernie is loved by everybody. He's respected by all. He is the most wide open guy. He wears everything on his sleeve. He doesn't speak loudly, but when he speaks, people listen.
He is the champion of sales and marketing, and we're so happy for him to receive this honor.
Bernie DeWald is Mr. Sioux Falls because number one, he knows everyone. Number two, he is the cheerleader of Sioux Falls. He loves this community. He loves the people, he loves the land, he loves the businesses, he loves the progress. He is Sioux Falls, and so that makes him Mr. Sioux Falls.
And those who walk beside you have set their standards high, confident you'd carry on this legacy with pride. May your blessings be abundant for answering this call. We thank you most gratefully. We thank you one and all. You're a friend forever.
Bernie and Rose, I want to thank you from our family to your family, the Chamber, the community, for all that you have accomplished, and congratulations on this wonderful recognition and this wonderful night. Please enjoy it for all time. Thank you.
Bernie, I would say thank you for your many, many hours of dedication to the community. Not only to the Chamber of Commerce, but sales and marketing executives, to your friends, to your family. You've just been a mentor to many, many people and a star of Trip, South Dakota.
Bernie, you're a rock star in this town. I thank you for being a great friend to not just me, but so many others. We really appreciate everything you continue to do. All the best, my friend.
Bernie, you're a remarkable individual. I can't tell you how much I and our fellow SME Sioux Falls members appreciate you and what you have done to bring this organization to be one of the most successful and dynamic professional organizations, not only in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, but in the United States. You're an amazing man. You've built a legacy, and I don't even think you knew you were building that legacy. I only wish you all the best.
Bernie, I just want to say thank you. You're the best friend I have. You've given a lot to this community. You've given a lot to me personally. I've grown because of you. We all have enjoyed what you've done, and now it's time to say thanks. Bernie, congratulations, my friend.
Congratulations, Bernie. This award is very, very deserving. It's an award that you could win every year, and we're glad that you're finally being recognized by Sales and Marketing as Executive of the Year. You certainly deserve it, and I'm very proud of you.
Bernie, it's been a great pride in my life to have the opportunity to be with a person that does have that generosity of spirit, community leadership, and always there to give other people incentives and encouragement to do something better, to be more than themselves. You've always seen the world as a broader place and bigger than yourself. And it's always been my honor, continues to be, to have the special opportunity to say Bernie DeWald is my friend.
Bernie, in front of all these people here tonight, I'm going to tell you that I love you with all my heart. You are the dearest friend. You are the epitome of what a good human being should be. You make our world a better place, and I have been honored to know you all these years, and especially call you my friend.
You're a friend forever. You can always count on me. As our hands reach out together, I pledge we'll always be forever friends, friends forever, South Dakota friends. May your blessings be abundant for answering this call. Thank you most gratefully. Thank you one and all. Forever friend.
The only person that I know that could ever get Bernie to sit in a seat, and he tells me that he has sat in the same seat every Sunday morning, is God. And I think that's the golden thread for Bernie.